The first talk will be on FFA and ICG and uveitis, Dr. Shweta Parak.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I will be presenting a case-based discussion on FFA and ICG in uveitis. So basic principles to remember are that retinal vessels are impermeable to leakage of fluorescein, and leakage shows that blood retinal barrier has been impaired. Choriocapillaris vessels allow free extrusion of both fluorescein and ICG molecules through large fenestration, which causes a choroidal background fluorescence, except in areas where inflammatory foci are present, making them appear dark or hypofluorescent. FFA is better for retinal pathology and ICG for choroidal. Coming to the cases, this was a case of peripheral retinal vasculitis in a 29-year-old male who presented with NVD, NVEs, CNP areas, and peripheral collaterals. This was the picture in the other eye. This was a case of syphilitic multifocal choroiditis in a young male who was TPHF-VDRL positive with a very florid picture at presentation. And we could see different lesions in different stages of healing: perivascular staining, intense perivascular staining, disc staining, and lesion staining in the late stages, and multiple hypocynosine spots in early, mid, and late phase of the ICG in both eyes. Patient was treated with topical steroids and benzathine penicillin and responded well to treatment. In this case, typical case of VKH with a typical OCT picture, we could see SRF, RP undulation and choroidal elevation, and early pinpoint leakage with late pooling of dye and disc staining in the later stages of the fluorescein angiogram, and multiple tiny hypocynosine spots on ICGA. Patient was treated with immunosuppressants and steroids. This was a case of azure in a young male who presented with a normal-looking fundus and vision 6/6 and only complained of a scotoma, and he showed a typical trizonal pattern in both eyes, active in the right eye, healing in the left eye, and it was clearly evident on FFA and ICG as well. 3 months post-treatment, we could see normalization of the pattern and recovery of the scotoma. In this case of a 41-year-old female who presented with floaters and numerous creamy yellow placoid lesions at the posterior pole, we could see these lesions, which were hyperfluorescent on AF and presented with a bacillary layer detachment, and early block and late stain on the fluorescein, and numerous hypocynosine spots on ICGA, which were more than were clinically evident. This was seen in both eyes. This was the case of APMPP, which responded well to treatment with steroids. This was a case of sarcoidosis with panuveitis in both eyes, snowballs, chororetinal inflammation, which showed intense staining in both eyes. And it responded well to treatment with immunosuppressants and oral steroids. And also, it showed extensive areas of scarring later on. This was a case of bilateral serpiginoid choroiditis in a young male who showed peripapillary hyperfluorescence and hypocynosines on ICGA. After 3 doses of IVMP and under ATT cover and treatment with steroids, it showed recovery. However, later on, the patient developed an inflammatory CNVM, which was treated well and responded well to ranibizumab. This was a case of a young boy with Behçet's disease, turned out to be HLA-B51 positive, vitritis, disc edema, snowballs, snowbanking, and CME, and a typical ferning pattern on FFA. This was a rare case of bilateral diffuse uveal melanocytic proliferation in a 58-year-old male with a history of metastatic RCC, for which he had undergone radical nephrectomy, and the fundus picture was quite subtle. However, the fluorescein FFA showed a typical starry sky appearance, and a typical OCT picture with areas of RPE loss and thickening, and mild choroidal elevation, and a leopard spot pattern on autofluorescence. And the patient was treated with Sutent. However, he progressed to develop exudative RD, refused to undergo surgery, and eventually developed NVG, and he still refused plasmapheresis till the end. He was put on palliative chemotherapy as well. In this case of toxoplasma chorioretinitis, we can see areas of scarring and with areas of adjacent inflammation and posterior capes on the OCT. And we can see areas of retinochoroiditis on OCT, which is more of a retinal involvement than a choroidal involvement on OCT, and a headlight and fog appearance as well. This is the algorithm for interpretation of FFA and uveitis. It can show hypofluorescence or hyperfluorescence with blocked or filling defect on hypo, and hyper being leakage, staining, pooling, or window defects and abnormal vessels. ICGA can show intermediate and late hypofluorescence or early block and late stain, which suggests impaired choroidal ICG diffusion through partial thickness, stromal choroidal inflammatory lesions. This is the algorithm for interpretation of hyperfluorescence on ICGA. And in conclusion, FFA and autofluorescence are good tools for evaluation of inflammation, and we can use it as a follow-up parameter for superficial fundus structures. ICGA furnishes additional information on the choroidal compartment, which is otherwise undetectable. Several choroidal diseases present with the iceberg constellation, in which there are minimal signs on funduscopy and more signs on FFA and ICG. Dual ICG and FFA should be performed for assessment and follow-up of posterior uveitis. However, in the latest armamentarium, OCTA cannot replace these two. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for sharing your experience with different investigations.
Sorry, ma'am. I could not get that question.
I just told, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Dr. Shweta, in your practice, which one you are preferring more, FFA or ICGA?
So, ma'am, at our center, we look at it more of on an economical basis. For if we really need it and patient cannot afford it, we will do an academic ICGA. But wherever it is required, we will not skip it, especially for posterior uveitis. It yields a lot of information.
Okay. Can you tell me just one or two clinical points where you advise FFA or ICGA? So,
for more of chorioretinal involvement, and especially in cases with where vision is not corroborating with the OCT picture or not corroborating with the FFA findings, we will advise an ICGA also. Yes,
do your treatment differ?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. It helps a lot, especially in cases of VKH and all where we are confused. ICGA will definitely show the hypofluorescent, like the iceberg constellation, hypocynoscent spots. And sometimes that really changes the diagnosis also.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.